Hello everyone and welcome back in a new video. My name is Wahid Anwar, and in this video we will take an overview of the risk probability in projects. Okay, so in every project there are uncertainties event that might happen and can either disrupt progress or increase cost. But how do we measure the likelihood of these risks actually occurring? Okay, so that's where risk probability comes in. So think of it like weather forecast. When you hear there is a 70% chance of rain, you carry an umbrella. But in projects, knowing the probability of risk helps us to prepare in the same way by planning smarter, prioritizing resources, and avoiding surprises. Okay, so in this video, we will break down what risk probabilities mean, why it's so important, and key factors that influence it. Okay, and how project managers use it to make better decisions. Okay, so by the end of this video, you will not only understand the concept but also know how to apply it to real world projects with the confidence. Okay, so let's start. So let's start with the definition of risk probability. Risk probability is the likelihood that a specific risk event will occur during a project. So usually expressed as a percentage or value between 0 to 1. Okay, so risk probability simply means the chance that a certain risk might happen during a project. So we usually show this chance as a percentage like 20% or a 70% or as a number between 0 and 1. For example, zero point 0.3 means there is the 30% chances that risk could occur. And this definition helps us to understand how likely a risk is and how we can prepare for it in advance. Okay, so here we have the importance of risk probability. So first, you can see we have here the identifies the chances of risk occurring. So actually, not all risk have the same likelihood. Some may happen, very often, while others are rare. By calculating probability, we know which risk deserve more attention. Okay. So second, it supports decision making and resource allocation. So projects usually have limited time, budget, and manpower. So knowing the probability of risk allow managers to focus resources where they are needed most instead of wasting effort on a low probability risk. Okay. So third, it helps in developing mitigation strategies. So if we know a risk is highly, or you can say if we know risk is high probability, so we can create preventive actions in advance. For example, if there is a high chance of a material delay, so managers can prepare backup suppliers or they can adjust schedule. So finally, it increases the likelihood of project success by reducing surprises. So when risks are anticipated and managed early, project run more smoothly, and the team can avoid being, the uh, catch off guard by the unexpected issues. Okay? So in short, risk probability is not just about numbers. It's about making smarter choices, being prepared, and guiding the project toward success. Okay. So I hope this is clear. So move next. So next we have key factors affecting the risk probability. Okay. So to measure risk probability, project managers use different techniques. So here we have the first one is the historical. data. So how often similar rates risks occur in the past project. Okay. So by checking past projects, we can see how often similar risks actually occur. For example, if material delivery delays happened in three out of five past projects, so there is a strong chance it could happen again. Okay. So second, we rely on the expert judgment. So experienced engineers, managers, and specialists can provide valuable insights based on their knowledge. So their professional experience often highlights the risk that data alone may not reveal. Okay. So third, we use statistical model. Okay. So actually, these include probability distribution simulations and other mathematical tools that help us to predict the likelihood of a risk in a more scientific and data-driven way. Okay. So, and finally, we consider external conditions, factors like weather, government regulations, political situation, or global supply chain issues can all increase, or you can say decrease, the probability of certain risk. Okay, so by combining these approaches, historical data, expert input, statistical tools, and external factors, we can make a much more accurate assessment of risk probability. Okay, I hope this is clear. So next we have types of probability in risk management. Okay. So when we talk about the risk probability, so there are two main ways to measure it. First one is the qualitative and second one is the quantitative. Okay. So first here we have the qualitative probability in a bracket. You can say it is actually subjective. Okay. So this is more subjective and you can say it's mostly based on the expert judgment. Especially when data is limited, risks are usually classified into levels such as very low, low, medium, high, and very high. So, for example, if expert believes there are about 70% chance of a labor strike, so they would classify that as a high probability risk. Okay. So here you can see we have the example. So second, we have the quantitative probability in bracket. You can say this is actually data driven. Okay. So this is more data driven and relies on actual numbers, calculations, and formulas. And there are several methods used there. First, we have the historical frequency. So where we check how often a risk occurred in the past projects. For example, if 12 out of 30 projects face weather delays, so that's you can say for about a 40% probability. Okay. So second, we have the Bayesian probability, which updates the risk likelihood as a new information becomes available. Third, we have the Monte Carlo simulation, where you can say thousands of if what scenarios are tested or see how risk might impact the project. Okay. So, in summary, we can say qualitative probability depends on judgment and experience, while quantitative probability depends on data and numbers. Both are useful, and project managers often use them together for more accurate results. Okay, so I hope this is clear. So next we have probability impact matrix. Okay, so actually probability impact matrix, often called the PI matrix, is you can say is one of the most widely used tool in project risk management. So its main purpose is to prioritize risk by looking not only at how likely a risk is to occur, but also at how serious the impact uh, would be if it occur. Okay, so the concept is straightforward. We use a simple formula. Here we have the simple formula. You can see probability multiplied by impact risk score equal to probability multiplied by impact. Okay, so Actually, here probability refers to the likelihood of the risk happening, while impact measures the potential effect on product objectives such as cost, time, or quality. So, by multiplying these two factors, we can assign a score to each risk. Okay, so after calculating the score risk, we uh, then you can say plotted on our risk matrix. Okay, so the this matrix usually has the probability uh, on one axis and impact on the other axis. Okay, so here we have the example. Okay, so it's a simple example, but we don't have axis here. Okay, but you can understand from this picture. Okay, so the combination of the two dimension, whether our risk is classified as a low, medium, high, or extreme. Okay, so this structured approach allow project managers to focus their attention and resources on the most critical task first, while keeping track of less significant risk in the background. Okay, so it transfers, you can say, the risk assessment from a subjective discussion into a more visual and quantitative, and you can say also prioritize process making, decision making for more effective. Okay, so I hope this is clear. Here we have the example as well. You can understand from this example, 60% chance of the steel delays multiplied by $200,000 cost impact equal to $120,000 risk score. Okay. So next we have risk response strategies. Okay. So once we know the probability of different risk, the next step is to plan how to respond. So in product management, there are four common strategies. Okay, so first, you can see here, the first is the avoidance. This means elimination or eliminating the risk completely, often by changing the product plan or approach. For instance, a product may be uh, relocated to avoid the risk tied to a particular site or a environment. Okay, so the second is the mitigation. So here the goal is to reduce either the probability or impact of the risk. So for example, ordering the material well in advance can reduce the chance of delays. Okay. So the third approach is transfer. Instead of handling the risk directly, we shift the responsibility to another party. So this is often done through insurance warranties or subcontracting certain activities or certain phases, or you can say certain parts, portion of the project. Okay. So the finally there is the acceptance. You can see here the acceptance. Now you can see here the tolerance, manageable risk. So this is when we decide to live with the risk, especially if it is you can say minor or cost of managing it, it is higher than the impact itself. So in such cases, product managers may add a time buffer or cost contingency to absorb the effect. Okay, so I hope this is clear. So next we have here the real world product examples. Okay, so uh, just you can say look at some practical project scenario where probability plays a key role. Okay, so first you can see consider the weather delays. Okay, here you can see we have the 90% chance of rain in the monsoon, high probability, high impact. Okay, so during the monsoon season, there might be as a high as a 90% chances of heavy rain. So this represent a very high probability and can have a serious impact on project timelines and cost. So next, think about the material shortage. You can see here the 40% chance of concrete delays due to the supply chain. So there could be 40% chance that concrete deliveries are delayed due to supply chain issues. So, by the way, we face a lot of issues related to the supply chain. So, this is the medium probability risk that can affect the both both the schedule and resource planning. Okay. Then another common issue that is the labor strike. Okay, so here we have the 60% chance of workforce shortage, severe schedule impact. So there may be 60% chance of workflow shortage if negotiations fail. So this has a significant probability and could severely disrupt the project schedule. Okay. So finally, we have the design change. So while the probability may be relatively low, perhaps only 20%, the impact can be extremely high. So even a single design revision can result in a major cost increase and rework. So these scenarios show us how probability and impact work together. So reminding us why proper risk analysis is so important in product management. Okay. So I hope these examples are clear. So now move next. Next we have the conclusion. Okay, so here you can see risk probability is a core part of the product risk management, and then it ensures proactive planning rather than the reactive firefighting. So by combining probability with impact, project managers can focus on the most critical risks and improve the chances of project success. So let's wrap up. Okay. So remember that risk probability is a core element of product risk management. It allows product teams to anticipate potential issues before they occur, ensuring that we take proactive steps rather than the simply reacting once problems arise. Okay, so when probability is combined with impact, it gives us a clear picture of which risk matter the most, and then this enables project managers to prioritize their effort, allocate resources wisely, and develop the effective response strategies. Okay, so ultimately, understanding and applying risk probability increase the chances of a project success. Then it reduces the unexpected surprises and build stronger confidence in delivering the projects on time and within budget. Okay, so I hope everything is clear. So related to the probability in risk probability in project. So thank you so much for watching this video. See you in the next video.